What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another fantasy football video, right? It's kind of related to the Euros, but it also applies to FPL. I'm using the Euro backdrop because that's where the thinking came from. And I don't yet know what the video title will be, but it'll be something like making better decisions in fantasy football. And this can be applied to pretty much any game there is, right? And the reason I'm doing this kind of video is because we've still got 2 more games left in the Euros. So before I do like wildcard drafts and team selection videos, I want everything to be finished and then I can decide what I'm going to do. And also I've been away all weekend and I didn't want to do an FPL video today, right? So that's more to come kind of later on this week. Like not, specific FPL pre-season stuff. So we're going to do this. It's probably going to be a bit of a ramble. No graphics. I'm just talking on this. If you like this kind of video, do give it a like. Hit that subscribe button. And if you don't, I guess let me know why in the comments below. But I thought I'd get this out ahead of the England game, basically. And this has all come about from a comment on YouTube. Now, this isn't a video to defend myself or anything like that. Originally, when I commented back to it, I was like, look, things go wrong for everyone. But then I thought, actually, it's a bit of a learning point, which I think a lot of people maybe get wrong in fantasy football. And maybe this will help. So the comment was, your advice on Euro fantasy was poor. Netherlands lost, so that's 3 players I need to get rid of. So general feeling is, I said that I thought Netherlands would go through, therefore going for 3 or 4 players was a good strategy, and they lost, and therefore that now looks really bad, right? And to be honest, I recorded this video yesterday. I didn't think it was that good. I wasn't happy with it, so I'm doing it again today. And it's kind of good that I've done that because now France have also gone out, right? And we don't know if De Bruyne and Hazard are going to be injured, etc. And things have gone wrong, especially if you use the wild card, right? So there's probably like 3 decisions over the last week or whatever in fantasy football in Euros where the decision has ended up being bad. Now, there's a difference between a bad outcome and a bad decision, right? So wildcarding was one of the things. I wildcarded in the group stages. A lot of you would have done that. Was that a bad move? Well, right now it's hard to say for sure that it was. It looks bad. Okay, if you've got like 4 French players, 4 Netherlands players, you've got De Bruyne, Hazard maybe who's injured, etc. Perhaps you went all in on England or all in on Germany and one of those are going to go out tonight. Then yeah, it looks bad. But we don't know yet. Right, we don't know how many transfers we're going to make. We don't know how many hits to take. We don't know what score we're going to get next week yet. Yes, of course, people with wildcard in hand, especially if they're already ahead of us, looks really good. But people are already panicking about something we don't yet know what the outcome will be. Like for me, I could say using the wildcard was bad, but I got quite a few points in match day 3. My rank is like 2k. That seems okay, right? So was it a really bad decision? We don't know yet. The other one was loading up on Netherlands players, French players, etc. And this definitely applies to FPL as well, right? In my opinion, loading up on Netherlands players who are favourites, loading up on French players who are favourites, who would then get another game. And in Netherlands' case, they had a pretty nice run to the semi-final. That, to me, that's just not a bad decision. And this is where people need to reassess how they think about their decisions for FPL as well going into next season, because you can go on tilt when a decision doesn't, or sorry, when an outcome doesn't go your way. And I'm sure you all know what that means, going on tilt, but you see it a lot, or I think the phrase came about from poker, right? So you might have a good hand, you might play it well, you might play it badly, whatever, but you lose that hand when you think you should have won it, or something along those lines, and then you go on tilt and you start making bad decisions. So in FPL, for example, if, let's just say, right, hypothetical situation, Salah's got Watford in game week 3. I can't remember the fixtures off the top of my head. Don't worry about it. Salah's got Watford in game week 3. Watford have been poor. They've just come up from the Championship. First 2 games weren't good. Salah captain looks great. Your mate in your mini league, they captain Sigurdsson for Everton away to Man City. Right, really tough game. Man City, Chelsea, for all things we know right now, 2 top defences in the league. Let's just say Man City is still playing really well. Extremely hard to score past. You go into game week 3, Salah blanks, Sigurdsson scores a brace. Now, some people, this is a bit of an extreme scenario that I've put together here for the purposes of this video. Some players will think, well, you're an idiot. Either I'm an idiot because of what I've said, or they'll think to themselves, well, I'm an idiot. Why did I go for Salah? Sigurdsson had been playing really well. He's on free kicks or whatever it might be. And so game week 7 comes around. Now Sigurdsson's playing Chelsea. Equally as tough game. Salah's got another good fixture, this time against Norwich. The thinking shouldn't be, well, last time I went for Salah and I could have gone for Sigurdsson. Maybe I just go for Sigurdsson this time. the process for your decision should be to keep making good decisions, and ultimately, hopefully, after a long period of time, they'll come about and they'll be good. The problem with like a Euro tournament is there's only 7 weeks, so if things go wrong, it looks even worse. But in FPL especially, you just keep making those good decisions, and eventually they'll come good. Like, we know how football works, right? There will be upsets. I saw people saying to me, like, when you're going all in on players, well, there will be upsets. Sure, but who are those upsets going to be? Nobody knows. Otherwise, they wouldn't be upsets, would they? We would all know that. So you have to back the best option, aka the best decision, and then hope that it goes right for you. So what shouldn't be happening now is, because you went for Netherlands players and because you went for French players and they went out, that in the next round you go for the underdogs, right? Sure, you might have an inkling or a reason, a strategy because of I don't know, the strategy the team's employing or the way they're playing, tactics, certain players that may miss out, may not. You might have an inkling to who's going to cause an upset, but ultimately no one knows. It's why the bookies in the next round, whoever goes through from England and Germany will be favourites, and whoever, I'm sure Denmark will possibly be favourites again in their next game, etc. And they're the teams that, if you're unsure, they're the ones that you should back. The fact that things went wrong for France and Netherlands shouldn't change your next decision. I think that's where people start to go wrong in fantasy football. And look, I've had bad ranks as well. I'm not like an expert that gets everything right. Like nobody gets everything right. That's what you have to accept, that things are going to go wrong for you. And football is going to have these crazy outcomes, right? Last night's match against France and Switzerland, when Benzema scored that second goal, France were all over them. They were playing so well. Then they got the third goal. I'm thinking after the second goal, it's game over. I even tweeted to say that like an absolute idiot. Pogba scores, brilliant, 3-1 up. No way France collapsed from there. They can see 2 goals. They go out on penalties. Not many people saw that coming. I know there'll be people in the comments now telling me they knew Switzerland were going to win, etc. Fair enough, right? If you knew that. But ultimately, you had to go for the favourites. Now, obviously, in Euro fantasy now, the question is going to be, what the hell do we do next? Well, we keep on trying to make those good decisions. So we wait and see what the matches are. We go for the favourites. Who's more likely to get not just through the quarterfinals, but perhaps through the semi-final as well. And we back those teams, right? Those that kept the wild card, fair play. If you've also got a good rank and not using the wild card didn't hurt you, that's brilliant. But using it doesn't mean it was a bad decision, I would say. Like De Bruyne is another one. Well, I went for De Bruyne, and in hindsight now, I'm thinking, well, he has just come back from an injury. Maybe it was a bit silly to go for him. But was it a really bad decision? Maybe. Maybe I need to reassess going forward how quickly I bring previously injured players back into my team. But ultimately, I wanted to go for one player from that game, either Portuguese or Belgium. I went for Belgium because I thought they were more likely to go through based on the odds. I mean, to be fair, Portugal played really well. They could probably consider themselves a little bit unlucky. But ultimately, the favourites went through. So that was a good decision. I backed the team that I thought was more likely to go through, or what the odds said were more likely. But then my player got injured. You just can't write that. That just happens sometimes. Again, maybe I should have put more emphasis on the fact he'd already been injured. But ultimately, the only other option was Lukaku, and I'd already had 3 strikers in there that I wanted to have. So this is what I would say going forward people need to do, is just assess their decisions a little bit better and stop worrying so much about the outcome. I know that's easy to say, because when everything goes wrong, you can just blame it on variance, or this is just what happens. It was a good decision with a bad outcome. And sometimes in FPL, it gets to the point where you think you keep making good decisions, it just doesn't go your way. And sometimes that will happen. It could take half a season for things to turn around. You just got to keep following that process, or that good reason you made that decision in the first place, and essentially not go on tilt. So I thought that point was interesting, right? Your advice on Euro Fantasy was poor. Netherlands lost, so 3 players. I mean, there's a whole other discussion about how many players we should have had. Should the risk have been spread a little bit more? Should we have had less than 3 or 4 players in our team in case of an upset? Possibly, but this is a 7-week format. If Netherlands go through, bearing in mind, right, and here's the thing, Czech Republic played really well, not taking anything away from them, but Netherlands weren't really troubled that much until the red card. And who could have foreseen De Ligt handballing it and getting himself sent off? That's just one of those crazy moments he'll remember for a long time, that he won't do again. He will try to get away with it, and with VAR, it's impossible to do that, pretty much anyway, and he gets sent off. No one could predict that. So if you went for Netherlands as well, I don't think that was a poor decision. in my eyes. It was a good decision. They were expected to go through. They were then the favourites for the next game. And that's all you can rely on. Everything else of that, after that, is out of your control. And I think once you realise that, understand it or accept it, whatever word you want to use, that stuff's out of your control once the players go on the pitch, then you'll probably keep making those those good decisions. And don't get me wrong, I know that when things are going well, to me at least, it feels much easier to keep making those decisions and keep doing the right thing, because you know things are going well. So you kind of like, for me, I refocus. I'm not really tilting or anything like that. When things go wrong, it's a lot harder. Don't get me wrong. So this week I'm thinking, Christ, I've lost my Netherlands players. I've lost France players. What do I do now? But ultimately, I just think, whatever. Didn't expect France to go out. Didn't expect Netherlands to go out. Sure, there's upsets, but like I said near the start of the video, how the hell are you supposed to call an upset, right? If you could do that, you'd be rich. You wouldn't be watching this video. You'd be going out making lots of money, because you'd be calling all the upsets and making a lot of money off the bookies. So there we go. I'll leave that video there. Like I said, it was just a bit of a ramble. I thought the point was interesting. That it basically made me think about the decision a lot, that comment. So thanks for making the comment. Even though obviously I hope you still keep watching the videos. And like I said, sometimes I'll get stuff right, sometimes I'll get it wrong. I'm just hoping that if I make 10 good decisions, that I don't know, 6, 7, 8 of them come off. And of course, the other ones are going to go wrong. That's just life. That's just football. That's just fantasy football. So I'll leave it there. I know it was a bit rambly. No graphics, no specific mention of what to do with our teams for Euro Fantasy, what to do for pre-season for FPL. But I do think it applies to both games. And to be honest, there's a game for England soon, and I'm thinking a lot about that. And until that game and until the Sweden-Ukraine game are done, I don't really want to think about what to do next, because those two games could play a big part in what I decide to do next and what you should decide to do. So tomorrow we'll have a wildcard draft. For those of you clever people that kept your wildcard in Euro 2020, fair play. You're absolutely laughing right now. And for everyone else, I'll have team selection on Thursday as well. So if you did enjoy that, do give it a like. Hit that subscribe button. And I'll catch you soon. After hopefully England have won. But they never win knockout games, especially against Germany. But hopefully this time.